All right, so
Yeah.
everyone's talking about AI and NVIDIA these days, right? But we're going to cut through the hype today.
Yeah,
We're going to deep dive into how this stuff is really going to change your life.
absolutely. And it's easy to get lost in all the headlines.
Right.
But the real story, I think, is about the underlying shift in computing power and what that enables.
Exactly. And that brings us to Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA.
Right.
We've got a recent interview with him, and it is packed with insights.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't just about chips and algorithms. It's about understanding the forces that are going to reshape how we live and work and think.
Yeah, what I think is really fascinating is that
Yeah.
Huang's vision, it extends way beyond just like the next product cycle or something like that.
Right.
He's really thinking about how AI can fundamentally change what's even possible.
Yeah. And that journey, believe it or not, started with video games. Back in the 90s, game developers were pushing for more and more realistic graphics.
Yeah.
But CPUs, your standard central processing units, just couldn't keep up.
Well, yeah, CPUs are great at handling, a sequence of tasks, one after another, but they struggle with the massive parallel processing that really complex graphics require.
Right.
Think about all those pixels and shaders and physics calculations happening all at the same time.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So enter NVIDIA with their solution. The GPU or graphics processing unit.
Right.
So instead of that single processor tackling things one by one, GPUs have thousands of smaller cores that can all work in parallel.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between, a single chef trying to cook a 5-course banquet
Right.
versus a whole kitchen staff working together.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this difference in architecture is key.
Yeah.
GPUs are really good at this specific type of math called matrix multiplication,
Okay.
which just so happens to be the core operation in deep learning, the heart of modern AI.
Wow. So gaming wasn't just a fun distraction.
Right.
It was a training ground for the technology that's now driving the AI revolution.
Totally. Yeah.
Like Huang put it, it was all because of video games. But there was another hurdle.
Okay.
Back then, using these super powerful GPUs for anything other than graphics was a real pain.
Oh, yeah. Researchers were essentially hacking them,
Really?
tricking them into thinking they were processing images even when they were working on other types of data.
Wow.
It was a very specialized skill set back then.
So NVIDIA saw this as a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
They created CUDA, a platform that essentially gave GPUs a whole new language,
Right.
one that programmers already knew.
Yeah.
So suddenly, anyone with coding skills could tap into that parallel processing power for all sorts of applications.
Yeah, CDA really democratized access to this revolutionary technology.
And it was a gamble, though, right?
Oh, it was a huge, if true, moment.
Right.
Would opening up this power to a wider audience actually lead to the breakthroughs that Huang was envisioning?
And the answer, as we know now, is a resounding yes.
Oh, yeah.
Think about AlexNet in 2012. It was a neural network trained on a massive data set of images. And it absolutely dominated an image recognition competition.
Oh, yeah. It blew the competition out of the water.
All thanks to GPUs and the ability to process huge amounts of data in parallel.
And that was a real turning point.
Yeah.
It marked a shift from, explicitly programming computers to training them with data.
Right.
It was a major validation of Huang's belief that more accessible computing power would lead to just extraordinary advances. He saw that scalable deep learning had the potential to transform the entire industry,
Right.
not just, niche applications.
And that's how NVIDIA went from powering video games to creating DGX,
Yeah.
their line of supercomputers specifically designed for AI.
Right.
And these systems have just kept getting more powerful and more energy efficient over time.
And that's a critical factor.
Yeah, we'll discuss that a bit later.
For sure.
But here's the key takeaway for all of you listening. The last decade was about figuring out the science behind AI. The next decade, it's about applying that science, letting it loose on the world.
That's what has me so excited. We're moving from the theoretical to the practical.
Yeah.
From, can we do this to how is this going to change everything?
And to answer that question,
Yeah.
we need to understand where Huang sees this all going.
Right.
Because his vision is about more than just faster computers. It's about robots and simulations and a future where AI isn't just a tool, but a partner.
And that's where things get really mind-bending.
I can't wait.
We'll dive into that in part 2, so stay tuned.
Definitely stick around. All right, back to the future we go. In part 1, we talked about how NVIDIA's journey, driven by Jensen Huang's vision,
Great.
went from powering those pixelated video game characters to building the foundation for the AI revolution.
Totally.
But let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
How is AI going to actually change the world that we live in?
Well, one area where I think AI's impact is just undeniable is robotics.
Okay,
and I'm not just talking about, replacing factory workers with robotic arms. We're talking about robots becoming genuinely intelligent.
Okay, so less like those repetitive factory bots and more like R2-D2.
Yeah, think about it.
Okay.
Right now, we're pretty good at building robots that can, perform specific tasks.
Yeah.
But they lack the adaptability and learning capacity of a human.
Right.
But what if you could train a robot in a simulated world where it could experience millions of scenarios and learn from its mistakes?
So like a robot boot camp in the Matrix?
Yeah, exactly.
But what's the advantage of that over training them in the real world?
Well, safety and speed, for starters.
Yeah.
Imagine training a robot for disaster relief.
Okay.
You wouldn't want it to make its first mistakes in a real earthquake zone, right?
Oh, definitely not.
So in a simulation, you can create just infinite scenarios.
Right.
From collapsed buildings to hazardous material spills.
Yeah.
And let the robot learn and adapt without any real-world consequences.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And in a simulation, you can also speed up time.
Yeah.
So a robot could gain years of experience in a matter of days.
Right.
But how do you make those simulations realistic enough to actually be useful?
Well, that's where NVIDIA's Omniverse and Cosmos platforms come in. They're building tools that allow developers to create these incredibly detailed simulations with real-world physics and, virtually infinite possibilities.
So it's like those hyper-realistic video games,
Right.
but for training robots.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And just you know how language models like ChatGPT initially struggled with accuracy, sometimes confidently making things up?
Yeah.
Robots trained purely in simulations might not perfectly translate to the real world.
So they might have some
Yeah.
robotic hallucinations.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
I like that.
But just adding context from, PDFs and web searches
Right.
grounded those language models in truth.
Yeah.
Omniverse and Cosmos are designed to ground robots' learning in real-world physics. It's about bridging the gap between the simulation and reality.
That makes sense. And this is where Huang's prediction comes in, right?
Yeah.
The one where he said, everything that moves will be robotic someday.
Precisely.
Wow.
And he's not just talking about, humanoid robots walking around. He's talking about self-driving cars, navigating, complex traffic, drones, delivering packages with pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
Even tiny robots performing surgery inside the human body.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the scope of this.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a minute.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about robots, but AI has the potential to revolutionize just about every industry.
Oh, absolutely.
Like healthcare, for example.
Yeah, take healthcare.
Yeah.
Imagine AI-powered tools that can, analyze medical images with superhuman precision.
Right.
Spotting early signs of disease that a human doctor might miss.
Yeah, I've heard about AI being used to, diagnose cancer and stuff.
Yeah.
But what about other applications?
Well, the possibilities are truly vast. I mean, AI could personalize treatment plans based on a patient's genetic makeup.
Wow.
Predict the likelihood of complications during surgery.
Okay.
Or even discover new drug targets by analyzing massive data sets of molecular information.
So it's not about replacing doctors.
Right.
But giving them an extra set of eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe even a whole extra brain.
Exactly. AI can kind of handle the heavy lifting of data analysis, freeing up doctors to focus on what they do best.
Right.
Building relationships with their patients.
Yeah.
Making complex decisions and providing compassionate care.
But AI isn't just limited to fields like medicine and engineering, right?
Right.
What about creative fields?
Well, AI is already making waves in the arts.
Really?
We've seen AI compose music, generate artwork, even write scripts.
Wow. I've played around with some of those AI image generators.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild what they can do.
It is.
But can they truly be creative? Doesn't that require something uniquely human?
Well, that's a question that philosophers and artists will be debating for years to come, I think.
Right.
But I think AI can be a powerful tool for inspiration and collaboration.
So instead of fearing that robots are going to replace artists, we should think of them as creative partners.
Precisely. AI can help us explore new ideas, push the boundaries of expression, and create things we never thought possible before.
It sounds like AI is poised to impact just about every aspect of our lives,
Yeah.
from the mundane to the extraordinary.
And that's what makes this moment so exciting.
Right.
And a little daunting.
Yeah.
We're at a crossroads where we have the power to really shape how this technology unfolds.
So where do we go from here?
Mm.
What does it actually look like to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's one we'll explore in part 3.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Welcome back, everyone. So we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have.
From those early GPUs to the idea of robots learning in these simulated worlds. But let's get practical.
Okay.
What are the tools that are driving this AI revolution?
Mm.
And how can you, the listener, get involved?
Well, one of the biggest changes is that the hardware and software for AI are becoming so much more accessible.
Okay.
NVIDIA's GPUs, the ones that were once just for, gamers and researchers,
Right.
are now available in these smaller, more affordable packages.
Right, like that DGX mini Huang showed off in the interview.
Exactly.
It's like having a supercomputer shrunk down to the size of a bread box.
Yeah, and with platforms like CADA, developing AI applications is becoming much more straightforward.
Okay.
This means that individuals and small teams can now access the same level of computing power.
Wow.
That was once limited to, big corporations or research labs.
That's a huge shift. But what about the software side?
Yeah.
I'm curious, what does it actually take to build an AI, even if I'm not like a programmer myself?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting.
Yeah.
There are these open source frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch that provide the building blocks for creating AI models.
Okay.
Think of them as these powerful tools that kind of streamline the process,
Okay.
making it easier for developers at all levels to jump in.
So it's not like you need to be a coding wizard to get started?
Not at all.
Okay.
These frameworks provide the foundation, and then it's about, designing the architecture of your AI,
Right.
training it with data, fine-tuning it for specific tasks.
Okay. That makes sense. But let's be honest.
Yeah.
Not everyone is comfortable writing code.
Right.
What about those of us who are more visually inclined?
Well, there's good news there, too.
Okay.
All these user-friendly platforms are popping up that let you build AI applications without writing any code at all.
Really?
They often use visual interfaces where you can just drag, drop, connect different elements
Okay.
and train models with a few clicks.
Now that's something I can get behind.
Right.
It sounds like the barriers to entry are really coming down.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this moment in AI. Yeah.
It's not just for the tech elite anymore.
Right.
It's for artists, entrepreneurs, educators, anyone with a problem to solve or an idea to explore.
I love that this is where Huang's call to action really resonates, right? That idea that everyone should be asking themselves, how can I use AI to do my job better or to solve a problem I care about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This isn't about replacing humans.
Right.
It's about empowering them.
I like that.
It's about taking those tasks that were once, tedious or time-consuming and finding ways to automate them, freeing up human creativity and ingenuity.
So where should our listeners start? What are some tangible steps that they can take today to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Well, first and foremost, embrace lifelong learning.
Yep.
The field is constantly evolving, so staying curious and building your knowledge base is key.
Right.
There are tons of online resources and courses and communities out there, from the basics to more advanced concepts, right? It's like Huang said, if I were a student today, the first thing I would do is learn AI.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who aren't students in the traditional sense?
It's never too late to learn.
That's true.
And you don't have to become a programmer to benefit from understanding AI.
Right.
Focus on grasping the fundamentals, how it works, how it might impact your field. That knowledge will be invaluable as AI becomes, more integrated into every aspect of our lives.
Okay, so stay curious and keep learning. What else?
Experiment.
Okay.
Don't just read about AI, actually use it. Play around with tools like ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ask it to, write a poem, translate a document, summarize a complex topic.
Right.
See what it can do, understand its limitations.
Yeah.
And start thinking about how you might apply it to your own work or projects.
So it's about getting hands-on experience.
Exactly.
And seeing firsthand what this technology can do.
Yeah, and as you experiment, think about the problems that you're passionate about solving. Could AI help you, analyze data more efficiently,
Right.
automate repetitive tasks, create something entirely new.
It's about moving beyond the hype and finding those practical applications that can make a real difference in your work or in the world.
Exactly.
Okay. And finally, don't underestimate the power of community.
Oh, yeah. The AI world is full of passionate people who are eager to share their knowledge and collaborate.
That's awesome.
Attend meetups, join online forums, connect with others who share your interests.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Figuring out this AI landscape as we go, so why not learn and explore together?
Exactly. You might be surprised by the connections you make and the ideas that emerge.
So there you have it. We've gone from the humble beginnings of GPUs to the potential of AI to reshape everything. From how we work to how we create to how we think.
It's incredible.
We've explored the tools that are making this revolution possible.
Right.
And giving you some practical steps to get started on your own AI journey.
Absolutely.
We've discussed Huang's vision, but ultimately, the future of AI isn't some predetermined path.
No.
It's being shaped right now by the choices that we all make.
And that's what we want you to take away from this deep dive.
Yes.
The power to shape this future. It's in your hands.
So what will you do with it?
That's something to ponder.
That
As
is.
we wrap things up.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.